What is up, my extremely attractive individuals? I hope you guys are all doing good. I've been getting all the messages. I've got loads of videos coming. I've got a vocal tutorial on how I mix the vocals coming up. I've got a how I'm mixing my tracks in general video coming up. And I've got a few music theory ones for how I made the neo soul and some stuff like that. But if you don't mind indulging me for a second, I would love to show you guys how I mix my latest track, Tired, which has kind of got like some chill house, a little bit like Kaytranada vibes. So stick with me. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Let's jump straight into it. So I'll play you a little bit of the track. I won't play like bare because obviously you can stream it whenever you want. But let's vibe. Let's vibe for a little bit. I'll check my monitors are down and we're running. Let's check this out. And I got some vocals in here as well, which I can show you guys. Sweet. Let's get into it. As always, I think the best place to start would be the place where you can get a lot of your attention, the drums. So just once again, I'm going to iterate. This isn't the final processing that I normally put on my drum channel, whatever. Once I've finished the track, I like to export these individually with or without effects, depending on the channel. And then I'll push it into Logic, and I like to mix there for several reasons, which I can get into in another video. But this will help you formulate an idea, and it helps me formulate an idea of how I like to make my tracks. So we'll start with the kick. This is the hi-hat. This is a shaker. I'm awful at labeling things. Here is the kick. And we're at a tempo of 103, so quite chill. If house music in general is kind of like 120, chill house is obviously going to be a little bit slower than that, and there's leeway. There's leeway with that. So we've got the kicks. Nothing super special. The only thing I would note is that one thing I did keep was a filter, just for some variety. And where was that in verse 1? Yeah. So while we're here, I just filtered it out. Other than that, no processing, as you can see. Okay, claps. Layered up, as usual for me. Very regular. And I layer up by ear. There can be some theory to it. You can go for one which has quite a strong transient, one that maybe has some high mids, or you can split them by time, frequency, whatever you like. But for me, in general, I just think if one's not enough, I try and find a second. So we started with this clap here. And then throughout, just for some more body, I believe, we went with this snare. I think that's quite tucked in the background. And then on this group, okay, I brought up the transient just a touch, so it obviously a high pass and a little bit of a focus on the mid-range. I think I kept that. So we like that. And only in the choruses, for a bit of dimension, we'll go from if I solo these three, we'll go from here. And then we'll add in this additional clap, which has the effect of making it a little bit longer, but also obviously just getting some variety, do you know what I mean? So we've got that. Those are pretty much on the 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Or what if it was here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's right. Cool. And then this is the part which is a little bit harder to try and get locked in. This is another one where I will play these hi-hats in. This is where we're going to find most of the bounce. So as you can see, with a lot of my tutorials, the hi-hats are a bit off grid, bit off center, which really helps build that bounce. And also in Ableton, you can use something called track delay, which is going to push it forward in time by, in this case, 15 milliseconds if you see here. And that, when you hear it, means it's going to be 15 milliseconds later. So that's really helping with the vibe. So quite real hi-hats, which is I think one of the things that differentiates it from being actual house music. So whereas house would be kind of in between the gaps, so we're going, yeah, so more swing. Cool. And so those are kind of like the main elements I could say. And then here we're just trying to find other ways to bring dimension and some energy, you know. So here we've got a little shaker, something I'll do a lot. And when the shake is that consistent, it can be quite jarring. So the way I combated that is with the use of the LFO tool. Which is really cutting down and only coming up in a few places, which I think just makes it slot into the mix a lot better. Today I'm rocking Very Berry. A bit too hot at the moment, and I've steamed up my glasses. But what else have we got here? Kind of it sounds like another high shaker to me, and that's probably because we're in the very last chorus. Yeah, look, so they're nowhere else. But we're adding energy by adding high frequency information. So that's a good little tip to know. Like in a lot of these cases, the addition of that high frequency information is a place where you can slot some more stuff into the mix to build energy. We've got one kind of low frequency percussion loop that was added in during the verse for that variety again. And I'll solo that so you can see it. And that's got quite a few things on it. So LFO tool for some pumping. Hoss effect so that to split it wide. This is obviously a bit crusher, but it's also having the effect of filtering. You can see it's got a really small filter on it. And another LFO tool, and this is at 1/4. So these two are working in tandem, I believe. Or no, they're doing the exact same thing. Yeah, the exact same thing. How creative am I? Lastly, every so often, just this reverb. Is it a reverb clap? Because that's something I do a lot. I'll just, yeah, right in the back. Give that dimension that I'm always talking about. I like things being in the back and up close. That's vibing. That's vibing. So note that having that percussion that's consistent is where we're going to get a lot of the groove, and then the hi-hats don't matter as much, you know what I mean, in terms of the bounciness. If I play the first one, the first chorus, I mean, you can dance to it, but it's a lot chiller. Because there's less, and also because there's not as much consistency. That's really going to tell people how to move their bodies. Cool. Moving on, that's the drums. Let's go into the first thing that I did, I want to say. QAPT pack, EQ, and then this is basically like a sidechain. The benefit of having a 4 on the floor kick is that you can, instead of having to sidechain directly, you can get more control by having something that just comes every quarter note. 1, 2, yeah, every quarter note. So that's cool. I'm going to freeze it right away because I don't want it to play and then crash, and then my recording's like, oh my God, what's going on? We can't take over here. So I blow on this T and I can't see anything. Anyways, we're back into it. Let's go. Let's solo these two together. What's funny is this actually ended up becoming quite a background layer, because in my eyes and ears and effects, chordal information like pads that goes right through a track has the effect of softening impact and groove. Do you know what I mean? So this, for example, doesn't have a lot of high frequency. It's mostly mid. It goes consistently through, and if it didn't have a sidechain to it, there would be even less movement. So having that pushed up front would make the track feel more melodic than dancey. So I ended up pulling it back and letting the drums and the bass hit more to give it more of a dance feel, even though it's chill. That's something that I've been experimenting with, which I personally thought was kind of cool. So it's just a regular lead, but I used the mod wheel to just make it full. And there's no timing to this. It's just, I just did it whenever it felt right. Like, the timing is arbitrary, but what you get is, oh, let me do it, maybe bass. You know, and it pans around and it's just atmosphere. Like whale sounds, I don't know. I don't know why I liked it. I liked it and it's a vibe. Let's move on to where we're going to get a lot more bounce, which is something I'm quite proud of. This bass. So with this bass line, gosh, I couldn't have thought of this, obviously. It's something I played in. You can probably tell by the placement of everything. And like I said, again, one of the things that I think really helped this is that laid back kind of feel to it. So and nothing super crazy about it. In fact, I believe it's just following the tonic of the chords. But super cool. That's another QAPT pack. Can you tell I bought it recently? Because I was using it on everything and I really like it. Let's talk about the chords a little bit, and I'm going to do that with let's do it with the keys. No, let's do it with the Juno. So what we're playing here is a C sharp minor 9, C sharp minor 9, going up to a D sharp. Nothing super crazy. I'm just going to check that on the keys that I've got here with just a grand piano. But what did I say? C sharp minor? No. That's 7. That's 9. Very simple. Sorry, actually I hate when people say very simple, because you have no idea who's listening and you just, at one point for me it wasn't simple, so I don't know why I would say that. But C sharp minor 9 to D sharp minor 9. This is one of the things that I like a lot about these types of songs, is that when we're trying to groove, we can build these circular progressions that don't require as much movement. Like when we do 4 or 5 chords, we go on journeys, and this one has a bit less of a journey, if that makes sense. It's just shorter. We're just like, oh, I'm chilling at home, and now I'm chilling maybe next door, and then I'm back at home. It's not like, oh, this happened, and then major key change, We can do that in genres, but not particularly in this one. Moving on. This is like classic Juno synth sound, Arturia. Just really shorten up that release. And look how far off the beat, come on. That's what we like in this case. Like, there's control to it, there's timing, there's feel to it. And like in general, I would say like I prefer to drag than rush, but it is an ear training thing. And I think for me, the best thing that really helped me do it, which is something I'm still doing now, is just making a lot of this type of music and listening to a lot of it and cross-referencing between the two, so that you can build that ear for basically how far can you push it and how much do you like it to be pushed. That's personal preference. So we're coming into the lead that we added on the last part. In the final track, drenched in verb. That QAPT pack again. Can you tell I just bought it and I loved it? And then one thing I do want to stress is that for this, I made the choice to extend these notes so that we get that. You want that consistent, you don't want and then, because it has kind of like a filter opening at the beginning, and then you don't want that to happen every time. You want it to feel like it's played smoothly. So even though I'm not the best playing in that lead line, especially on my Alesis, that's kind of how I went for that effect. Very high octave keys. Also LFO'd. I was about to say I'd be surprised if I didn't, for the exact same reason. I'm adding high frequency information so I can for more energy, but then I don't want it to soften out the track too much, so I play and then I LFO to give it some groove. What have we got here on the labs? Oh, this is a late addition to the track, right? Okay, so I had already kind of got the idea of the beat with this, and I was writing lyrics and I was like, this is sick. And then I found a TikTok somewhere that was like, this is the piano that you need. It's free. It's on Spitfire Labs and it's called Felt Piano. And I was like, that's exactly the type of piano that I've been looking for a very long time. Just feels right. You know what I mean? Soft piano preset. So I came back, added it in, doubled it up with this Juno, so they probably sound quite similar. But I just think it's so cool. And if you notice, in verse 2 is where I choose to take a lot of stuff out and I let the soft piano, the soft felt piano take over. Yeah, for the high frequency. Sweet. And then lastly, I want to talk about something that didn't make it into the cut. This guitar. I want to stress, so in the moment, I'm thinking, okay, what can I add that's just vibing? You know, when you're in a zone, you're just adding, you have an idea, you try it. You have an idea and you try it. With hindsight, I can go back and think what made my ears, and this is something like a skill that I think is quite useful to be able to pick up on, is being able to recognize the reasons why you maybe went with that subconscious choice, or like, why did like that idea just pop into my head? And like I said previously, again, I'm looking for something that's in those high frequencies that's going to give me some more groove so that people feel the dance. The more you're assisting in that, basically the more dancey it can feel up to a point. And I'm looking for this, and I ended up playing this. And then the reason why I ended up taking it out is, one, because I felt like it was quite sloppy, which isn't the end of the world. You can realign things and move them around. I'm not sure if I did for this, so no, I didn't. But in the end, it felt like it was accentuating all the wrong parts. Like if you were to like pick out the beats that make it drive, to me, it would be this. Boom. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Those are the really strong beats, right? And stuff bounces in between those. Ba, ba, ba. So the ones that I like could be something like that's all nice. This I wasn't a fan of. All of those felt like they were getting in the way of the beat rather than enhancing it. And frankly, it just didn't feel like there was space, so I ended up taking it out. This, that stayed in. That's a little bit of itty candy. That's like an idea I had from the drop chorus, so it sounds like this. Just a little something, you know, just a little sauce, little bit of this, little bit of that. And then lastly, I won't keep it too long, I want to talk about my vocal process, and boy oh boy, it's a vocal process. So I'll be 1 second looking for my microphone, which I never lose until I'm on camera. Here's one. So this is a dynamic microphone, right? It looks like this. It's pretty awesome. And the benefit is unlike a condenser microphone, this is meant to be used in a live setting, and you could kind of basically say it's single directional. There's better single directional, but it's single directional. So you can put this to your mouth and you can sing while the monitors are playing, and it works okay for a scratch vocal. It's not the best, but it works okay for a scratch vocal. So I can have the monitors on and I'll be singing along, picking out melodies and notes and rhythms that stand out to me. And I'll do that before I have the lyrical content, because to me, I think the placement of your notes and the notes that you actually choose are just as important, maybe if not slightly more important than the words you're going to say, because you can say so much with just those vocal decisions. So let's go into how I ended up with that many tracks based on that assertion. So we started with this. I'm like an athlete, no thanks on my location. Sleeping. You can see I'm cutting in and out on different things. I'm having different ideas. I can resuscitate your party. Instead of going, I can resuscitate the party. I can resuscitate the party. So all different decisions, all different cuts on how I first would like to sing basically the track. And then I wonder if I press, yeah, look at that. Look at those beasts. Okay, let's listen to one of these. I must have blinked when you passed me. Run up the time like an athlete, no. Trying to get it right. I must have passed him when you had me. Well, fuck on the phone, I wanna last me. But I'm just saying gibberish here, yeah? You see how I ended up not using that particular melody, but I'm spitballing all of these ideas, coming up with the ones that I think are correct for the track, and then just trying to be ruthless in other areas, right? That being said, I have this main melody, right? Which is an auto-tuned auto ball, and also it was kind of pitched. So I have that high octave, and that's kind of like your main, but by itself, it's not quite doing enough, is it? To me, anyways, it's not quite doing enough. So if I play this, yeah. To me, in the last chorus, that's too much silence between songs to try to keep someone's interest, right? So I'm looking for more ideas. I'm looking for more stuff in the gaps. I've got this, which is kind of building on that. And then here we go, with their space in the gaps for more ideas. And this is what we come up with. And like I say, again, pitch is not the best, because in my mixing session, I'll re-sing parts that I think can be pitched better, and then I'll also pitch align things and time align things. It's a manual process. It's not just auto-tune, so you'll end up with something that sounds a lot cleaner, which is quite important when you have this many vocals, depending on the effect you're going for. Third. I've been missing something. I think that's the third. I'm hearing the harmonies by ear. High octave. Two high octave, and you can see they're panned slightly. I've been missing something. I've been missing something. So this is a really cool technique where if you have your words, you can choose to harmonize the whole thing, which I've done for a lot of them. And for some of them, I've decided let's just harmonize that very last part where I want to give additional emphasis. So the vocals are basically growing throughout the progression. You could start with just one person saying, I've been missing, and then 5 people, something's, and then 10 people, I don't want to wait for, if you wanted to. And that's a pretty cool technique, which I kind of implemented slightly here. So we've got some more people basically here. Over the top of that. And you see how there's still more gap. Okay, I'm like, okay, I don't want there to be that moment where we're like, I want it to be full basically. So I'm like, okay, let's keep thinking. Come up with this. Most of them are just going, oh, and this last one I was like, let's riff it up a little bit. Oh, oh. But like if I could actually sing. But you know the point. Same here. What's this little boy right here? An ad-lib layer. I think I kept that ad-lib, yeah. Same for these. I think all of these might just be like me exploring different ways to come in and out, different ad-libs, which is something which is quite new for me. Yeah, took that one out. Took that one out. Some of these didn't make it all the way to the cut. But essentially it's just very busy. I'm looping the last section of the chorus and just singing over the top, whatever I'm feeling. So yeah, I feel like that was quite a quick breakdown. I hope I went into enough detail on anything, but I'm happy to make more videos on any questions anybody has. I enjoy it and it can't hurt. So that's kind of how I made it, how I kind of got what I think is kind of like that new chill house kind of vibe. This is one of my favorite tracks. You can check out Tired on Spotify, all that sort of stuff. If you have like any individual questions and you want me to like proper go in and help you do something, just book a call with me. The link is in the description and we'll get to work. We'll make something happen. As always, I love you guys. Peace out.